Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So happy Saturday. Today I want to talk about, of course, Bitcoin and what has happened last week, what's going to happen this week, and why we should all pay attention, look carefully at this one chart that I think is very, very, very important. So let's get started. Smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified of all my streams. Follow me on social media. Check out CryptosRUs.com and follow me on the brand new CryptosRUs Clips channel. Welcome, 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 guys. Hopefully you guys are having a great weekend so far. Start a new weekend. Right now, Bitcoin is at 29.7. Despite what happened with U.S. markets last week, I would say Bitcoin has held pretty strong, especially on Friday. I don't know if you guys paid attention. U.S. market on Friday was absolutely horrendous. Horrendous. Look at that. Dow was down almost 400. NASDAQ itself was down 300 plus, right? But despite the big sell-off on Friday, Bitcoin stayed. It did not move. Bitcoin just stood its ground. And right now it's still, that's where we're at, right a little bit below 30,000. So Bitcoin is definitely showing its strength right now. However, let's not forget that Bitcoin did fall down. Yes, it's not like it hasn't fallen down. It has fallen down. But here is what's really interesting. Basically, this past quarter, okay, the very first quarter, I'm going to remove my cam for a little bit. Take a look at this. This past quarter has been the worst quarter since 1980 something. All right. So this is like an aggregate of all the investment classes out there. And you can see this is comprised of S&P 500 or 10-year Treasury or Russell 2000, bonds, 30-year Treasury. You put all that together. Crypto's not in here, but you could see the very first quarter return is negative. And we haven't seen that since the 1980s, going all the way back. So it's been 40 years since we had a quarter this bad, right? This is also probably the reason why Bitcoin did have 9 straight down weeks, right? 9 straight down weeks, and we're looking to break that this week. But just goes to show you how bad it's been. It's not just Bitcoin and crypto. It's everything. Stocks, bonds, indexes, everything has been selling off, right? And despite all of that, all of the FUD out there in the sell-off, well, Bitcoin is still holding strong at $30,000. So that's very positive. Now, on Friday, I don't know if you guys paid attention, but this man right here said that he is super, super, super uneasy about the current economic conditions of the U.S. and I guess around the world, which is why Tesla is going to lay off about 10% of their headcount. And Tesla is shot down like 10% on Friday, just 10% alone on Friday. And you know what? Biden was asked about this. And I actually think he gave a pretty good response to this, okay? So I'm going to play it for you guys, whether or not you like President Biden or not, but I thought he gave a pretty good answer when asked about this. So I'm going to play this real quick. Just take a listen.
Elon Musk has said that he has a super bad feeling about the U.S. economy. He's laying off 10%. What do you say to Elon Musk about his feeling about the economy? Jamie Dimon has said similar things.
Well, let me tell you, while Elon Musk is talking about that, Ford is increasing their investment overwhelmingly. I think Ford is increasing the investment in building new electric vehicles, 6,000 new employees, union employees, I might add, in the Midwest. The former Chrysler Corporation, Stellantis, they are also making similar investments in electric vehicles. Intel is adding 20,000 new jobs for making computer chips. You know, lots of luck on his trip to the moon. I mean, I don't. I mean, you know.
I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah, it's obvious President Biden is no fan of Elon. Anyways, I just thought that was funny. That's why I wanted to play that. It does seem like he was very prepared for that question because he has a little cheat sheet that he just pulled out, right? So he was prepared for that. But anyways, I just thought that was funny, so I just wanted to play that. Anyways, so this is what I want to show you guys. This is one of the many things I want to show you guys. But right now, of course, fear is still very high. So despite the fact that Bitcoin has been holding at 30,000, altcoins not so much, and we had 9 straight down weeks, and the global economy is still not doing good, right? So obviously fear is still very high. But I like to use this as a bottom indicator. I like to use this as a contrarian indicator because whenever you have a ton of fear, especially over a short period of time, that's when Bitcoin flips above. And right now, if you look at the very right side, we've been stuck here for about a month or so in extreme fear levels, bouncing between like 10 and 14. Extreme fear. And we've been here for an entire month. When was the last time that happened? The last time we were in this fear level, this clump of fear, was back in March of 2020. Same kind of event. We stood there for about a month or so in extreme fear between 10 and 14. And guess what happened then? Well, that was the COVID crash of 2020 when Bitcoin was below 4,000, right? And then you go back a little bit further. Do we have any other time like that? Yeah, one other time right here, about a month right here. And that was 2018, end of 2018, when Bitcoin fell to 3,000. In both scenarios, it was very similar. Just ton of fear, seemed like nothing good would ever come, and that's why extreme fear was rampant, and we had that for months, and that's when Bitcoin turned. And right now, we're seeing that same thing happen, right? Same thing happen. So going back, we had twice, where we had this, and we're now seeing the third time. So are we going to see a repeat? I do think so. This is why I've been saying I do think that 25K was bottom already, and we are now recovering. It's a slow recovery, just like those two times too. It was not a quick recovery, but I do believe we are on our path of recovery already, which may take some time. But looking at fear, we have seen this before. We have seen this twice before. Okay, so just want to point that out to you guys that, yeah, we might be in here for a little bit, but I would say this is a good thing for Bitcoin. A good thing because we are recovering now from these extreme fearful times. That's how I look at it. Also, it's not just me. ARK Invest, led by Cathie Wood. She's a big Bitcoin bull. She writes, despite the 9 straight weeks of down, and it looks very bad, and of course there's extreme fear, Bitcoin fundamentals remain strong. And this is what I've been concentrating on, telling you guys about the growing fundamentals. In fact, I would argue it's at all-time high. Most of the things that you can measure Bitcoin with, like the number of addresses, number of holders, right? Those are all-time high. Hash rate is all-time high. Anything that you could really measure Bitcoin with, outside of just price, everything else about the network and activity is still growing by leaps and bounds. And here's some of the things that they talked about. Well, from a TA perspective, it hasn't broken any trend lines, right? So that's pretty positive. I'll have a little bit more to share about that. 66% of the supply has not moved in over a year. That is all-time high, right? There's many other things that show Bitcoin is still growing strong. This is why Cathie Wood still remains a Bitcoin bull and still still backs her prediction that Bitcoin will go to 500,000 in the future, right? She's like, no, it's not, my prediction is not going to go out the window. Bitcoin will head there, right? So ARK Invest is still a very, very big Bitcoin bull despite what has happened. And it's not just her either. If you look at Bitcoin spot ETF holding from Purpose, right? Purpose, which offers the very first and the biggest Bitcoin spot ETF there is on the planet from Canada. Well, it's at an all-time high because there are a lot of people that are not fearful. They are buying the dip. Maybe they're not able to buy physical Bitcoin or they don't want to. They're buying the next best thing, which is a fund that tracks Bitcoin's price and holds Bitcoin itself, right? And that has reached all-time high. And even other products called ETPs, exchange traded products, they're kind of like ETFs, not so much, but still, there's a lot of these ETPs around the world, again, adding a ton of Bitcoin. Seems like every single week because the appetite for Bitcoin is still there and growing, not dying off by any means, despite how bad the world economy is, the U.S. economy is, and everything else. Despite all that, people are still flocking to Bitcoin, right? So, positive. Growing fundamentals. Here's another one. Balance on exchanges. You could see, I'll move my camera. You could see that for a very, 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 very short time period, it did go up slightly, but then now it's coming down. But overall, if you compare to the supply back in 2021, back in 2020, right? Bitcoin supply is definitely moving down. There's going to be less and less of it going forward. You got to grab it while you can. You grab it before it's all gone. And then here's a few other stuff. Like if you're looking at Bitcoin logarithmic growth curve, this is measuring it from, all the way from the beginning. And I remember this one very vividly because back in 2020, it was the first time in history where Bitcoin actually broke below the bottom of the curve. And it's hard to see, but if you look at in 2020, it broke through slightly. And I remember it was a doomsday signal. Every single person looked at it and said, well, Bitcoin is done. First time in history has broken through. That means this has been invalidated and Bitcoin is going to fall to 1,000 or even below. Guess what happened? It didn't happen, okay? Bitcoin recovered and continued higher. But it does show that was a terrific, terrific buying opportunity right there. And right now, look at the very top where we are. We are slightly below that bottom of the curve again. So again, terrific buying opportunity? I would say so. And here's another one from a TA perspective, looking at some of our previous bottoms, even just going back to 2021, right? You could see that we're within the same range, right? We've been holding a lot longer this time. But if you also look at the volume, every time before we get that rally, we get a massive red candlestick in terms of volume, like a massive sell-off, right? It happened in the beginning of 2021, mid-2021, and we just had that not too long ago too. So that's also important to remember. But yeah, again, all very positive things. This is what I look at. The fundamentals is still strong as ever. The adoption is growing. The buying continues. And a lot of indicators and metrics are showing that, yeah, we are in recovery. You just have to be patient about it. It's not going to be instant because how bad the economy is. I mean, the economy is really bad. Really bad. Like Elon says, he has a super bad feeling about it. But it's not doomsday, okay? It's not the end of financial markets or end of the world. We will recover from this. And Bitcoin always comes out stronger than ever. And that's why we need to be in it and be patient. All right, and the last two things, this relates to ApeCoin. I did see this. ApeCoin has a vote to remain within the Ethereum ecosystem. I think that's a pretty wise thing to stay within the Ethereum ecosystem because it's the biggest by far. And Snoop Dogg is also going to be opening up a restaurant that's based on Bored Apes. Interesting. Bored Ape NFT theme. I don't know if it has anything to do with NFTs, but he's jumping in the bandwagon for sure. Snoop Dogg is really, really, really into NFTs these days. All right, outside of that, that's pretty much it. Looking at CMC, Bitcoin dominance still holding right around where it was, 46%. Today, I mean, Solana is not doing well. Solana is selling off a lot recently, mostly probably because of that Zoom chat that they had, and combine that with a lot of the outages. So obviously people are starting to lose a little bit more faith in Solana. I'm hoping that they could still pull through, but today, slight green day for most projects, right? So overall, pretty positive. All right, let's do some Q&A. I don't have any water with me, unfortunately. All right. Chris Maddox, I sold my C7 this week so I could DCA more. I want to be like you one day. Hey, I appreciate that big super chat. DCAing toward the bottom is definitely a wise thing to do, I would say. There's been many times. I mean, this is how wealth is made, right? You buy low and you wait, basically. That's how you accumulate wealth, is you buy low, you buy when others are fearful, right? So congratulations. Can you elaborate on Sol? What do you want to know, Johnny? Harmony is expanding the GameFi metaverse. Why is it so undervalued? I don't know. You need to define your question better, Rover. Why is it not as high as the other L1s? Is that what you're asking? Because it wasn't as big yet. It didn't have as much going on. It's still growing. It's still a project I believe will do well in the future, but it never had the same kind of traction like for example, Solana. It just didn't have the numbers. So I think Harmony was really carried by DeFi Kingdoms, but then they had some controversy, and DeFi Kingdoms had fallen tremendously, and that has hurt them a little bit. But they still have other projects. It's just they're not as big yet. It's really that simple. Am I going to consensus? No. There was a little hiccup. The team, I don't know, whoever's in charge of consensus or ticketing, really behind the curve. They didn't assign the tickets that I needed for my team to go, so all right, I'm just going to skip out. And by that time, it was just too late. Too late to book everything. It's just too expensive, so not going, but I will be going on a short vacation next week. Is the governor of Fed's statement positive for crypto? I don't know which statement you're referring to. How much do you think I need in a good L1 to see 100K gains? Well, that depends on how much you go put in. You put 100K in to double it, it's pretty certain. Pretty certain. Even if you put into Ethereum, that's going to happen. Quite easily. But if you're putting in 1,000 and expecting 100K, that's not as easy. So it really depends on what your budget is. Will Coinbase shut down? No, it won't. When is a good time to buy Avalanche? I'd say right now is a pretty good time. I still remember Avalanche, forget the 146, but I still remember Avalanche being at 50s and 60s just a month ago. This last month, May was definitely horrible for altcoins. I mean, up until May, I would say even from December all the way to about late March, mid-April, altcoins are still holding relatively well versus Bitcoin. And then in May, it really dumped down, right? That's kind of how, you know, we have formed a bottom or near bottom because of that dumping, because even the holders of the altcoins, they couldn't take it anymore and they sold too, right? But I believe in Avalanche, so I think they're one of the good ones. I think they will come back, but they have been oversold. That's for sure. I mean, 80% just year to date within the 6 months. I mean, that's tremendous fall from top. Johnny, watch my video yesterday. I can't show you the Zoom call, but they were just being very cocky and trying to make fun of Cardano when in fact they're having a ton of issues. Scar, thank you. Do I like gin? No. I can't stand gin. I'm a whiskey guy. Whiskey, a little bit of vodka, but more whiskey. Why aren't you promoting the CryptosRUs schedule anymore in the intro? Are you planning something evil? That's just a stupid question. I'm not even going to answer that. I don't know if you're just being funny, but no. You're going to want to have flow before the next run up. And there's nothing wrong with flow. I like flow. I mean, they made big waves already with Top Shot, but they're going to get into other sports and other NFT projects. Their biggest thing was they weren't available on most U.S. exchanges, and they're still not. But at least they opened up on a few, like Binance.us. But I like them. Their token economics isn't the greatest though, but that's because they're trying to save most of their tokens for the NFTs in the future. That's why the token economics looks really bad. But they have a ton of funding, great leaders. They were the ones that started CryptoKitties. The new Ranger you're talking about, did you know Land Rover sold to Tata, Indian company, no longer UK owned? Yeah, that was years ago. That doesn't really change anything. Range Rover still has the prestige, the name. Reliability has always been horrible. Really, really bad. It's the only reason why I've never bought one. I don't know if the new ones will get better, but yeah, that was a while ago. Even before Tata, I mean, Range Rover was owned by Ford, right? So I think Ford had Range Rover for a while. Thanks, Johnny. Wouldn't the news of VET's expansion in Europe cause the coin to go up? It seems like none of the VET's news. Right now, you can't depend on news because people are not FOMOing in like before. You know, you got to realize, why does news make coins go up? Is it just automatic, like the system just automatically pumps things up? No, it's because people are excited about it and then they FOMO in. Right now, no one's FOMOing into anything. That's why altcoins are so weak, because most people are afraid that there's more pain ahead and they're afraid to buy. So right now, no news pumps anything, okay? But that's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. You have to pay attention to what they're doing. So VeChain's expansion in Europe means that they go try to get more European businesses. They already have a ton of business in Asia, some of the biggest businesses in Asia, but they want to really cater to the West, right? And that could be a big thing for them. And they're trying to push into DeFi, which is more important. So pay attention to those things, not so much news pumps. They're not going to help you. They're irrelevant. Do you still agree that DOT and FTM are sleeping giants waiting to explode? I don't know about sleeping giants, but they're definitely L1s that I've been paying attention to, and yeah. Phantom has always been kind of like a mid-cap play. They had a pretty good run, but never became a big cap. So, but right now they're really down. They're like a small cap. I think they're going to get back to where they were before. What's your take on an NFT marketplace built on BTC via stacks? I don't know. I think it could work, but there's a lot of Bitcoin maxis that refuse to recognize any other chain and thinks that everything needs to be built on Bitcoin. It could work, but I just see that being inefficient. So there's plenty of NFT places, okay, on Ethereum, on other chains. So I like them better. And as for the BMW M4, I haven't driven the new one yet. It looks good. It looks really good, especially in person. On paper, the new kidney grills look really weird, but in person, they actually look really good. As someone who lost money in Luna, what do you think is the next Luna from the top 20? Because I'm scared in DCA and Sol. Okay. No, it doesn't. That's the wrong question. You're asking like every single project is going to follow Luna and crash. If that's the way you think, then you're not going to invest in anything and you shouldn't be in the game. What happened with Luna was a one of one. No one else really has a system built like them with UST and Luna, and the way the two are in harmony and one burns and one increases and vice versa. So you're asking like which is the next Luna? It's none of those that you named. Do you think AMP will start carrying momentum with the new Chipotle using Flexa? No, because I'll guarantee you no one will be using any crypto to be paying for burritos or burrito bowls. It's going to be zero. So, no. It's good for Flexa. It's good for AMP. You could argue that if people are using it to buy burritos, great. But no one's going to be using their crypto to buy burritos, especially now. Should we be extra cautious right now or bullish? Bullish. You want to be more bullish when things are down, not bullish when things are up. So I would say be cautious, but be bullish. But that's just me. I've been picking up a lot more recently because I feel more comfortable that we have formed a bottom already. But even if that's wrong, even if we do go lower, but we're a lot closer to bottom than we are to top. So think about that, right? Top is infinite. And even going back to our previous high, there's a lot more room to grow than from where we are to bottom. Let's see. I'm going to go with BTC, ETH, ADA, Link, FTX, Adam, Algorand, Gala. That's a good lineup, Jeremy. I like that lineup. I like it. What do you think about Shiba? So-so. They have a lot of things developing. So I do like them more than Doge. But right now, I think there's better buys. There's definitely better buys. Bitcoin's going to 5K soon, yes or no? No. No. All right, guys. Smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you tune in. Tonight, I'm going to be playing an interview, actually. I'm not going to be streaming, but I did have an interview with a smaller channel. This channel called Contrarian Dude. A guy that's more focused on macroeconomic and TA, but we had a pretty good conversation. So I'm going to play that tonight, and then you guys could take a look at it and take a look at his channel. But you know what? Overall, I think Bitcoin is holding strong. I mean, despite the massive sell-off last week, Bitcoin is still holding right around 30,000, and there's still a lot of goodness happening right now, right? So stay strong, my friends. Enjoy your weekend. Don't be checking your portfolio every 5 seconds like me. Get out there and enjoy your weekend, and I will see you guys tomorrow, same time, 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Last few, Simple Green. Do you think more meme coins in general will always exist? Yes, they will, but doesn't mean that they will be become like sheep. What are your thoughts on Solana 5 to 10 years? You know what? I hope they could fix their issues. If they can fix their network issues, they will continue to do fine. But if they can't, well, they're going to be in trouble. And I hope the team becomes a bit more humble based on, you know, what has happened with Terra and Do Kwon. They shouldn't be trying to poke fun of other coins like Cardano when they have their own issues to worry about. So hopefully they learn from that. All right, guys, take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye.